read your minds tonight. Out of curiosity, how many of you here tonight believe in extrasensory perception, psychic powers, this kind of thing? Not much of that. So a bunch of you, I'd say maybe half of you, not quite half, a little over half. Right, good. I don't, but I'm going to read your minds anyway. To do this, I'll need to borrow a couple of you occasionally over the next couple hours. If you want to help with something, that'd be great. If you really don't, just say, no, not me. I'll move on to somebody else, no hard feelings. But I will talk about you later when I get home and see my life. Early experiments in extrasensory perception were done back in Cambridge, England, back in the 1880s, by a group called themselves the Society for Psychical Research. It's a group of philosophers and scholars who want to study the idea, can a thought be moved from one mind to another without the usual sensory channels being involved? They also studied a number of other things, like can you predict the future? Their experiments with that didn't go very far. One of their members actually did go down on the Titanic, so their experiments didn't get that far. But the experiments in what they called mental telegraphy did go a bit further. For their experiments, they used playing cards. And you can think of playing cards as being 52 different symbols, 52 different thoughts that one person could have and try to send to another. This is what they would do. They'd sit two people down and one of them a deck of cards. That would be the sender. They'd have the sender look at a card and try to project the image of that card over a second person, the receiver. They have the receiver guess at what the sender was sending. They kept track how many times they guessed right, how many times they guessed wrong. Being the 1880s, they were using the telegraph to communicate across long distances. This was an apropos kind of simile to use it, so they called this mental telegraphy, these experiments. They read them for months and months and months. At the end of the several months, they analyzed their results. They found their results were inconclusive. So I'll try something similar using two of you as senders, one of me as receiver. You might have noticed the elastics. I just thought it was sort of an eccentric fashion statement, but who knew? I am going to gently toss this out into the assembled throng. And we got to go right in this area here. And whichever one of you catches this deck, you stand up where you are, put it on your hand like that, and kind of peek the card like that. Don't riffle, you'll see too many, we'll both get confused. Don't take it out, just kind of peek at one and remember it. Gets a lot harder for me if you forget. Okay? So just gently toss this in that direction.
So close.
Close to you, yes? You step where you are there, sir? Sure. And sort of peek at a card there. Got it? We have you gently toss the deck over to somebody on this side and get their attention before you chuck a deck of cards across the room. It's also stand up where you are there, sir.
Stand up where you are there, sir.
There we go. The same thing. Sort of peek at a card and remember it. Got it? You just gently toss that back up to me. Awesome. Could you just put those house lights back up so I can see these folks again? All right. So look at me. Good. Also, if you could just look at me. All right. Good. You, I feel good about. Not so sure over here. We'll do some nice, easy, bite-sized kinds of pieces. If you think of a deck of cards, there are red cards, there are black cards. Can you just think of that, the color of your card for me for a sec? This could be red, could be black, could be black, could be red, think. This is a black card in reminder, yes?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I'm pretty sure it's. I know the card. I just don't know the color. I'm pretty sure it's not black. So. Okay.
So it's not a black card. All right. Concentrate. It's a red card. Spooky. No, do the same thing. Just think of the card. Are you certain what color this is? Okay, good. Make sure before we went any further. So if you red, could be black, could be black, could be red, think. Here's the black card over here, yeah? No? See, I knew I was going to have a hard time with you. All right. Hang on. All right, so your red card. It could be a heart, it could be a diamond, it could be a diamond, it could be a heart. Just think of that suit, get that big and clear in your head. Think hearts, diamonds, hearts. This is a diamond you've got in mind here, yes? Okay, now we get a little bit of flow going here. Also do the same thing, just think of that suit, heart, diamonds, diamonds, hearts, and here's a heart over here, yeah? You could just kind of like play along. All right. If I name the card you're thinking of, sit down. As you do so, there'll be a huge sort of existential gasp for the rest of the audience. It's a 7 of diamonds and a 6 of diamonds.
7.
Yes? Yeah. Okay, good. This is what I do. I'm not psychic, but I can usually zero in on what people are thinking about, as long as they're willing to play the game. It's a two-way street. I can't get into your head and just pull out whatever I want. People always ask, do I sit there at a Starbucks? Do I watch people walk by the street? Do I say, okay, she's got $12 in her pocket, he's cheating on his girlfriend? Do I do that kind of thing? No, I don't do that kind of thing anymore. It's a two-way street. And ever since I was a child, I've been fascinated with ghost stories, about ESP and psychic powers. It's a very strange child. And as I grew up and was a sort of strange adult, I read about theater, psychology, parapsychology, all that comes together to bring me out here to play with your minds this evening. Let me do something else with the cards before moving on. For this, I need to borrow one of you to come up in front of the group. And I need somebody who knows their way around a deck of playing cards. I don't need like a real poker expert, but I do need somebody who won't think of the 3 of puppy feet or the 12 of jacks, because that's happened periodically. So any real card players out there in the house? Thanks, it's been fun before. Like I said, no real poker expert, but somebody who's played cards at some point in their life. I will drag one of you out if I have to. And this fellow right here in the second row on the aisle, what's your name?
Ed.
Ed, you want to try this, Ed?
Sure.
And all this applause is for you. Thanks for coming up here. Ed. Ed, I'm going to kind of run through the cards about that fast.
Okay.
And Ed, hold your magic finger.
How about this one?
Sure, that's good. Sometimes you get different magic finger in Providence, that's totally okay.
Yes.
But I'm going to go through cards like that, and at some point, anywhere you like, bring your magic finger down to one card and hold it there.
All right.
Okay. Take a card, take a little handful there, take a little batch. Take a little handful.
All right, there.
And just, I'm going to turn my back so I don't see what you're doing.
Okay.
But you also turn your back to me.
All right.
And you take a step back toward me. There we go. Take those cards out in front of you.
Yep.
Now, you don't need to memorize these, but you do need to sort of notice each card that you've got there. And if you want, take a second to put those in any sort of order that appeals to you. If you want to do it by number, by suit, whatever you like. Just sort of take a sec to look those over and let those cards kind of register in your mind. Now, this is very much like one of those experiments they used to do back in the 1880s. Ed will be trying to send, I will try to receive. Try to name off cards that I see Ed as seeing. But before we get going on this, let me talk about the math that's involved, because I know you all came out here and you talk about the math. My chances of naming one of the cards that Ed has there are 152. People don't always know that. Excellent. My chances of naming, say, 2 cards that Ed has there jump rather dramatically to 1 in 2,652. My chance of being right from there won't be even more dramatic. My chance of naming, say, 5 cards that Ed has there are just a whisker under 1 in 2 million. So if I say this is wicked hard. Now, Ed, I'm going to name off cards that I see you as seeing.
Okay.
And as I do this, I'm going to reach back like this.
Yep.
If I name a card that you've got, just put it in my hand. Right? If I name a card that you don't have it, just say, nothing here, go fish, something witty like that. So that is up, let your eyes kind of go back and forth, across that little bit, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's a red card, it's like a low value red card, like a 2 or a 3. and it pops kind of because it's such a piddly little card like that. It's a 2, it's a red 2. That's a 2 of hearts. Just 10, that's 2 meat head? No? Okay, fair enough. I'm just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Press a little thinner. And there's mid-value black rat 7, yes?
No.
No. Look at this. Wow. And one more. If I can't nail this, then I'm going to have to send me back, but nothing personal. And a 9, like a 9 of hearts.
Like it, 9 cards.
Nine of diamonds, but you're just helping me out at this point, right?
Yeah, I do. I have an exceptionally thick skull. It's hard for the signals to get out.
Totally fine. All right, no, I'm going to send you back. I thank you very much for doing this. I do apologize for it. But you get applaud if I don't actually do anything. Because then the next step is that if I do something poorly, you must boo, and I don't really want to get into that at all. All right, so you can see this is not exactly what we call science. There is a certain strange sort of margin of error built into this, which is unfortunately on display at the moment. So, I wasn't always going to do this. I was, for the longest time, going to be an English teacher. I was going to be Dr. Rory Raven, PhD. And I was going to go the whole route. I was going to deconstruct and demystify with the best of them. And I was going to write those god-awful, unintelligible papers, things that made no sense, that had crazy subtitles. And people would never admit they didn't make sense because they didn't want to look at it, they don't get it. So I was going to go that whole route. I was going to try to do that. And it was going to be, have you read Raven's deconstruction of Derrida's work on Kant? Yes, I did. Didn't make any sense to me. I know, not to me. Give him a fellowship. I was going to go and do that whole deal. But I ended up doing this instead of doing that. I had much more fun doing this than I ever would have had doing that. And I still have a little bit, I think, of the English teacher vibe going. I think you would agree. If you don't think so now, you will later during the quiz. But some of this goes back to when I was a kid. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I got sick with someone of the childhood ailments, like measles or mumps. I've long since forgotten what it was. And the family cure was to keep the sick child, me, in a dark room for a couple of days. And during that time, one of my sisters crept into the room and read me Edgar Allan Poe by flashlight. So I think that was sort of a formative experience. And if nothing else, it made me a real reader. I never leave the house without a book. Sometimes I bring 2 because I finish one a lot, I need something else to read. And this is the sort of stuff that I enjoy reading. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the first science fiction novel ever written. The Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Bram Stoker's Dracula. This book has never been out of print. It first appeared in 1897. Edgar Allan Poe, of course, and the best of H.P. Lovecraft. I recently moved out of Providence, but I was for a long time living in Lovecraft's old neighborhood, so I like having that with me when I'm traveling around. If you can bump the house lights up a little bit so I can see who I'm talking to. 5 books and 2 of you. The books themselves aren't that important. The important thing is they have a whole lot of words. I want to borrow 2 of you to come up in front of the assembled throng and take some words out of the books we're going to start with. And those people will be. It's always sort of fun to take a step forward, look out at the crowd, and watch half of you to pretend not exist. It's a gent here at the end with dark hair and glasses. I always think that's a sign of intelligence and good breeding. So if I could have you. And fellow here in the middle, if I could try you. What's your name?
Brett.
Brett, absolutely correct. Your name, sir? Ben, come on, everyone. You're Brett there. Brett? Ben, Brett, 5 books, 2 of you. Whichever book appeals to you, whichever one repulses you the least. Just one, yeah. You can stand over on this side. You can quick flip through it, make sure that it's just a book. It's not the same thing on every page, which people always seem to think. Fair enough? I'll start with you, if I may. I'm going to sort of run pages like this. At some point, anywhere you like, say stop, say there. Look at the first word of the page. So, there. In that case, maybe you want to stand there to get the letter to be a little bit better for you. Once you've got it, remember it. It's going to be a lot harder for me if you forget. All right? So sort of, Rick, will you say stop?
Stop.
Sorry, once again.
Stop.
One more time.
Stop.
The first word there. Good. Good. Same thing. I would sort of run things like this at some point. Anyway, so stop, say there, look at the first word of the page, and if it's and, it's going to be lame like that, just say, no, it's lame, and we'll get something else. All right? Stop. Stop. That's right. Stop. The first word there. Good. All right, let me start with you, if I may. In order to do this, I need to get you to say the first letter in the word but. If you just said the first letter Z, that's too easy. So can you think of the first letter in your word and recite the alphabet for me, starting A, going straight through to Z? At some point, you're going to say the first letter in your word, but don't do it the way when you do. You understand? So A straight through to Z out loud. Relax. Forget about the fact that there's 238 people watching. I might not be part of the way through if I think I've got it, so off you go.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Can you start over for me? Sorry.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
First letter A?
Yes.
Okay, good. We'll do the same thing. Think of the first letter in your word, recite the alphabet. Starting A, going straight through to Z. Think of the first letter, but don't give it away when you say it. Understand? So off you go.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
An N? Okay. Think of the second letter in your word. Think it, don't say it. I'm going to say the alphabet. Listen for your second letter to go by, but don't respond when you really say it, though. Okay? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. T, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, L, N, M, L, K, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, C, D, A. Now you're impressed. I'm a little unsure. It's this one or it's this one. And I think when I said think the second letter, you kind of made me for a second like, wait, is it this or this? But is it E? Okay, good. Same thing. Think of the second letter in your word. Just think A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, where's the Z? Is it N?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, good. Think your third letter. Think the third letter. Think it, don't say it. Think it, don't say it. When I said a second ago, it was this one or it was that one. I was thinking that if it wasn't the E, it was an I. It's the I is actually the next one over, right? Okay, good. Same thing. Think of your third letter. Think it, don't say it. Think it, don't say it. This is an X, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Try this. I know this is like a weird thing to ask you to do, because up till now it's been totally normal. Can you like think of the rest of the letters in the word and like mix those up? Grab one at random. Got it? Okay. Did you think of one before going to another, like maybe that, I'll know that sort of a thing?
Yes.
Okay, because a lot of people do, that's fine. I feel like I'm getting two here, and is it T?
T.
Okay. Same thing. Mix the letters up, grab one at random. Okay. Is it H? No? Did you like go by an H while you were doing this?
Did.
Okay. All right, hang on. You know, just like think your whole word. Think the whole word. Think, don't say it. Bring it right up to your brain there. Just think what this word is. is the word vaguely appropriate to your state of mind at the moment?
Vaguely, yes.
Vaguely, okay. Because I want to think that this is like anxious or anxiety? Anxiety. Oh, fantastic, okay. Same thing, just think this word, think it, don't say it, think it, don't say it. There are two different ways of going with this. Most people say this kind of one way, I say it slightly differently. Most people, a lot of people would say neither, but I have more of a patrician thing going. I say neither, so that's how I am, it's neither. So, second thing that happened back when I was a kid, it's about, I don't want to get all like crazy Freudian on you and talk about my childhood, but the second thing that happened back when I was a kid, about the same time, 7 or 8 years old, mid-1970s, a man appeared on American television saying that he possessed fantastic psychic powers. I saw this guy on TV, and it changed my life. This guy said he had an ability known as psychokinesis. This is Greek for mind motion. This is the mind's supposed ability to influence physical objects just by thinking about it. So he didn't use his psychic power to do anything as mundane as telling you your mother's maiden name and your winning lottery numbers. No. This fellow used his fantastic psychic powers to ruin people's flatware. This catches on. He becomes a celebrity back then. He makes rounds of TV talk shows, demonstrating his abilities and leaving a trail of bent and twisted cutlery in his wake. And it actually catches on. People actually start having spoon-bending parties. And I've seen the videos. You get friends together, you have a little wine, you have a little cheese, you pop a Bee Gees 8-track on, and everyone gets a piece of flatware. I have seen the videos. People stand there going, bend, bend, bend! It's the 70s. And supposedly, the forks and spoons would bend and twist and in other unlikely ways. Most people who are into this like to use spoons, like to use forks. Forks are pointy, they seem a little bit sexier. I should point out that I don't use the family silver. This is not Gorham. These are good solid stainless steel. They're not rubber, they're not plastic. They don't have little hinges on them. If you can tap these on your chair, you can see how solid these are. Good solid stainless steel. Oh, don't get that, it's really bad news. It's a good solid stainless steel. Actually look on the back of them, they say stainless. The idea here is, if you take one of these, if you think about it getting kind of soft, think about it getting kind of malleable, think about that getting kind of plastic. Think bend, think go, think malleable, think bend, 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 like that, bend, 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 like that. All right, I know it's hard to see more than a row or two back, but there is that one tine there that is decidedly eccentric, and this is the one you had a second ago. Was it doing that when you had a moment ago? No. I feel it's not rubber, it's not plastic, it's not hot. Now, every time I do this, I'm afterwards approached by my new worshipers, and they say, dude, I know how you did that. And I love conversations that begin, dude, I know how you did that. They say, oh, it's wicked simple. They think I'm rubbing it like this, I'm superheating the metal with the friction from my hands. I'm kind of causing it to melt as I warm it with the heat from my mighty, mighty hands. And yeah, sure, there's a totally rational explanation of what's going on, right? Think about that getting kind of soft, think about that getting kind of malleable, think about that getting kind of plastic. Think bend, think go, think malleable, think bend, 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 like that, bend, 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 like that. Now, I did this at a corporate event down in Bristol just last night, and it's not fair to compare one audience to another, I understand that, but at the point where I had psychokinetically ruined a piece of flatware, to this extent, that audience applauded. fair to compare, just thought I'd mention it. Again, you can feel it, not rubber, not plastic, not hot. Now, a fellow who did this on TV back when I was a kid, he'd do that sort of thing, he'd hand it over to Dinah Shore or Merv Griffin, whatever show he was on. He'd say, feel it, no heat, no heat. I don't mention this guy by name, because he has spent pretty much the last 15 or 20 years suing the Christ out of everyone who ever looked at him. What are the chances he knows I'm here tonight at 95 Empire talking about it? But if he's really psychic, why take the chance? You've got one, there's one back here, and one over here. Any luck with that? Think about that getting kind of soft and kind of malleable. Plastic, think, give it a shot. Come on, think bend, think go, think bend. Anything there? Here, no. Try this hold by the tines, the pointy bits there. Don't poke them there. Kind of rub at the handle like that, and think about that getting kind of soft, think about that getting kind of malleable, think about that getting kind of plastic. Think bend, think go, think malleable, think bend. Anything there? Think bend. There? Yes, no? No? Bend like this. Think bend, 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 and yes. Yes, no? Sometimes once they start, they'll keep going too, which I always think is sort of cool. Are any of you feeling especially psychic this evening? Just me? Lady in the stripy sweater, you've got one. Any luck with that?
No, I haven't tried.
No? What's your name, dear?
Kimberly.
Kimberly, come on, Kimberly. I'm my new friend, Kimberly. Kimberly, we'll try spoons. Set that down. Sometimes people have more of an affinity for one kind of flatware than another. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. So Kimberly, I brought 2 spoons with me from home, and the spoons fit together. Spoons spoon, for want of a better phrase. Now, this is a good point here. These don't quite perfectly match. There is, I don't know, what, a 1/4 of an inch maybe? A little bit of a gap there toward the end, but not very much. Put this one on top and the gap kind of goes away. But with this one, there is, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or so. A little bit of a gap. Kimberly, you're going to bend one of these. The other will be our control spoons, or our comparison spoon, all very scientific. So, one you want to bend, whichever one feels more psychic to you. Got it? Good. And put this here as our control spoon. Kimberly, take your left hand, put that out for the assembled throng. Put your right hand up of mine. Take my hand, leave your hand there. Kimberly, with your right hand, I want you to rub back and forth on that spoon. And think about that getting kind of soft, think about that getting kind of malleable, think about that getting kind of plastic. Think bend, think go, think malleable, think bend, bend, bend. And Kimberly, feel all the energy in your body. Up your legs, up your back, down your arms, in your hands, down. Think bend, think go, think bend, 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 bend. This one pushing up there a little bit.
Yeah.
Think bend, think go, think bend, 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 bend.
Oh, wow.
All right, now, there was a little bit of a gap in the handles. Kimberly's a freaky chick. Will you write that figure right there?
Wait, right here?
Yeah, right there. Yep. You kind of rub back and forth on the handle. Yep. Think bend, think go, like that. Think bend, 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 look at that. Bend, 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 bend. It's like a 90-degree angle. Kimberly, you want to take this to its logical conclusion? It has a logical conclusion. Pinch there with your forefinger and your thumb. Pinch here with your other forefinger, your other thumb. Look at the adorable reflection we make in the bowl. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure, but not a whole lot. Think about that getting kind of soft. Think about that getting kind of malleable. Think about that getting kind of plastic. Think bend. Think go. Think malleable. Think wobbly. Wobbly. It's called bend. Think go. Think wobbly. Wobbly. I like to say, build, bend, and go, bend, 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 bend. Kimberly, let go. Let go. Put your hands on this. Put your hands. Kimberly, say bend. Say bend.
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 Kimberly, say break.
Break.
Again.
Break.
Again.
Break.
Catch. Yes, you can keep that and sell it on eBay, but I'm famous. Kimberly, everyone. So I have a great interest in the history of what I do. I'm not the only person who has done this kind of act. I stand in a long tradition of performers doing this sort of thing. I've tried to research the history of what I do as much as I can. It's filled with bizarre and colorful characters. People like Alexander. Alexander, the man who knows, was a vaudeville mentalist. He made and lost fortunes in vaudeville many times over. Once he retired from vaudeville, he went on to make and lose fortunes as a rum runner during Prohibition. And he was Claude Alexander Conlon, was his given name. And he used to say that on the vaudeville stage, he was really just another talkative Irishman. I just that resonates with me. There's also Newman the Great, that is Christian Andrew George Newman, C.A. George Newman is what he used to call himself. He billed himself as the pioneer mentalist, not because he was particularly original in his act, but because he mostly worked the big prairie states out west. So he was the pioneer mentalist, not those pioneering states. And he was acting into the 1950s. My favorite little fun fact about C.A. George Newman is that he had a very large library of magic and psychic and occult volumes. And at one point he published a catalog of his library, listing the volumes that he had in his library. And he included in the catalog of his library books that he did not own. And he also included books that did not exist, causing consternation among collectors and bibliophiles for years afterwards. So I really kind of admire him for that. One of my other heroes in this line of work is a little more recent, a man named Joseph Dunninger. Dunninger did a mind-reading act similar to some of the stuff that I do in the 1930s and 40s on radio. Think about that for a second. Dunninger was born and raised in New York and New Jersey, but he always spoke with a sort of British accent like this. And he used to say, "Any child of 10 can do what I do with 40 years practice," which is a great line. And one of the things I really love about Dunninger is that if you listen to the radio shows that he did, and I've dug around, I found about a dozen of the old radio shows. And if you listen to the shows, it sounds like he's in some massive theater. He always says things like, "I'm receiving a thought from the second balcony, 3 rows back, who is this, please?" Turns out he was performing in a radio studio in front of maybe 100 people. But if you listen to the shows, it sounds like he's in Radio City Music Hall or PPAC or something. And I really sort of adore the gall that he has there. And it was said in his heyday during the war, he had the second most recognizable voice on radio. The only more recognizable voice being FDR. So when you're slightly less recognizable than the President of the United States, you're doing okay for a mind reader. But he has this great line, "Any child of 10 can do what I do with 40 years practice." And I don't really stand here tonight telling you I have fantastic powers. I don't do anything that none of you could do if you had the right sort of training, the right sort of background, the right kind of mindset. So with that in mind, I wanted to turn things over to one of you, let one of you test your psychic powers. And that's going to be so much fun. Can I ask you to join me for that? What's your name here? Cheryl. Cheryl. Everyone, Cheryl? Cheryl, I brought with me a lock and several keys. No. Cheryl, all the keys fit in the lock. All the keys turn in the lock. Not all the keys open the lock. Okay. So this is, as I said, a test of your intuition, not of mine, which is why I'm very comfortable with this partnership. So 4 keys. Cheryl, which do you think is the key that opens that lock? Reach over, grab it, and one of yours drawn to it. Fantastic. You got a lock. Cheryl, this is your showbiz moment. Hold it up, put it, it will fit, it will turn, it may or may not snap right open, and... Turn and... No? Okay, just toss that there in the glass. 3 more keys. Cheryl, your second choice is? Go right ahead, and the little fit will turn, and... 2 keys. Let me try to help you out a little bit. It will fit, it will turn, it may, or... Hold it up, will fit, it will turn, it may, or it may... Cheryl, you know why none of those keys open the lock?
It's not one of the keys that open the lock.
Exactly the one that does this one here in my pocket. It's a mentalist humor, it's really only funny to me. Try to put it in, it'll fit, it will turn, it should snap right open. There you go. Yes?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, great. Oh, you're easy. We're going to do it. Jesus. You just toss that in with the little friends. Close that up. Set that down there. Hold your hand out like this. Put your other hand on top of it. Awesome. So, what have we done? Aside from try Cheryl's patience for a couple of minutes. We've established 4 of these keys do not open the lock, one of them does. I'm going to walk out among the assembled throng and ask 5 of you to reach in and select a key. I'm really only going to ask 4 of you to select a key. The 5th person gets whichever one's left. Not really much of a choice. So. Either one, actually. Five of you with keys. Can you stand up and come down here for a moment? The other 5 of you line up there on kind of diagonal. Excellent. And each take a step this way. And come forward to your light, and I am going to have you two just switch. Good. So, girl, boy, girl. That's not more pleasing. Cheryl, one of your 5 friends here has the key that opens that lock, and you're going to figure out who it is. Now, those of you with keys, you can hold this forward in a closed fist. Now, as I said, this is a test of your intuition. And people who are into contacting their intuition have all kinds of kooky tools they like to use. Some of them use tarot cards, some use crystal balls. One of the oldest and most popular has been pendulum. You ever used a pendulum for anything?
No.
Step up here if you would. Pendulum can be any weight at the end of any cord. I just have a nice one that I bought up in Salem. And the people who are really into this say that they will ask themselves a question and watch the pendulum response. They'll ask a yes or no question. And they say that it swings sort of this way for a yes, it'll swing a little circle for a no, or it stays still for a no, swings back and forth for a yes. And it's not the person holding it doing anything consciously. It happens sort of through them. And it's up to the person using it to decide what's an operative response and what's not. Most popular use, have any of you out there used a pendulum for any kind of intuitive stuff? You have. What have you used it for?
Years ago, it was with friends, a yes or no question.
And was it accurate when you did this?
I think so. I mean, it's been a long time.
One of the most popular and oldest uses has been if you hold it over a pregnant woman and ask is it a boy or a girl. People say it swings like side to side for a boy, or swing like a circle for a girl. It's one of the most popular uses that people are often familiar with. And I understand that using a pendulum to divine the sex of an unborn child seems to be accurate about half the time, from what I hear. Cheryl, you're right or left-handed?
Left.
Oh, good. So, are you okay to hold with that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So just take that. Now, I would like you to point to each person in turn and ask out loud, is this the person with the key?
Do I need to do anything?
No, in fact, try not to do anything. Ask, is this the person with the key? Give it a moment and watch, see what the pendulum does. It will do something different on one of them than it does on the other four. And you're the judge of what's an operative response. And the only thing I will ask you to do, just for theater, I guess I'm going to have you cheat this way, and point with your right hand,
Okay.
and watch the pendulum. Like I said, you're the judge of what's an operative response, what's not. I'm going to shut up and let you work. Okay? Off you go.
Is this the person with my key? 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 Is this the person with my key?
What do you think?
I think it's this lady in the striped shirt.
Audience, you think is there more of a reaction on the lady with striped shirt? I would just take that and you go have a seat. Take that back, you have a seat. Not you, I can have that and you have a seat. Excellent, have a seat. Cheryl, I'll take the pendulum. You can get the key from her. And Cheryl, this is your show this moment. Hold it will fit, it will turn, it may or may not snap right open, and... So now how many of you believe in ESP and psychic powers? See, I still know. It's great. I get to travel around and do this show. I get to go all kinds of places. I've gone to New York, Portland, Maine, somewhere in North Carolina. I forget exactly where I was. I went to Istanbul doing this. So I get to travel around doing this show, meeting all kinds of great people. And people always come over to me after a show. They always want to ask questions or chat or whatever. If you want to come over afterwards and chat, by all means, I'm totally happy to hang out a bit. And I say that, and then of course sometimes the people who come over after a show end up being kind of weird. And there'll always be like one guy who will pull me aside after a show, and there'll always one guy who says, I have fantastic psychic powers too. I say, okay, great, good for you. That's awesome, because you want to be nice, right? You can't not see you, great, good for you. Then we'll say those dreadful words, we'll say, can I show you? So, okay, great, sure, go ahead. What is it that you do? Then he'll go into a trance, or he'll contact the spirits, or whatever he thinks he does. He'll always do this. He'll go, there's a older male figure, very close to you, very important to you in your life. Older male figure, name begins with D. Who's this? Dad? So I'm not buying it, but I'm still interested in the ideas anyway. I said at the beginning, I was going to use your minds tonight, so I should get 2 bets. And for this, I need to kind of borrow 3 of you, and you can all do it right from your seats. If someone here, you're someone there, let's kind of go along with the third person, so I'll be headed back in that direction. And could you bump the house lights up so I can see to whom I'm speaking? There we go. Let's see. Right there in the front, just because you're easy to get to. Can you think of a name? If there's somebody you know. Someone whose face you can picture, someone whose voice you can kind of hear when you think about them. Not somebody who's here tonight, because I couldn't check the ticket sales and then memorize all the names, the credit cards. I didn't, but I couldn't. So maybe somebody you haven't seen in a little while. Think about the person, see their face, hear their voice. Think about the last time you saw him or her. When you've got a good lock on this person, take the little card, unfold it, kind of see the person space there, if that makes any sense. And write down that name in big block as a kid across the face of the card, really thinking about each letter as you write it. Don't let me see, don't let them see, they could be spies. Lady in the striped shirt. Can you, you want to try this? Cool. Can you think of a place for it? What place that you've been, that you have happy associations with? It could be your hometown, if you're not from here. It could be where you went to school. It could be like your favorite vacation spot. Think about the place. Walk around the place in your mind. See the sights, hear the sounds. When you've got a good sort of image of it, take the little card, unfold it, kind of see the place there, if that makes any sense. Write down the place in big block as a kid across the face of the card. Really thinking about each letter as you write it, okay? And then once you've done that, fold the card back up, put it in the envelope here, and daintily lick the flap and seal that down. You all written and folded up? Excellent. Take that. This is going to go in here. I'll get that in a second. Just take that back and daintily lick the flap and seal that down. Excellent. All right. Third person. Things I'd like to kind of go along to to the ladies back there. Yeah, you want to try the video? Excellent. Can you think of, you get a date for it, you have a date in the year that you have happy associations with. It could be a birthday, it could be an anniversary, it could be a day that just went especially well. Think about the day, what happens on the day. Think about why the date is important. Like the others did, take the little card, unfold it, kind of see the date there, if that makes any sense. Write down the date in big block as a kid across the face of the card, really thinking about each letter as you write that. Once you've done that, fold the card back up, put it in the envelope, and daintily lick the flaps and seal it down. Okay? Sorry, I didn't reach past you. Now, people always ask why we write things down in big block as a kid across the face of the card. There's two reasons, really. One is that as you write something down, it helps kind of fix it in your mind. It's fixed in your mind, it can be fixed in my mind. Secondly, this gives us a written record of what you're thinking about. It prevents you from changing your mind and trying to make me look. Those of you who have the envelopes, you can just hold this up to the light, make sure you can't see through those. You should be able to see the outline of the little card. You should be able to see what's written on it because you folded it all up, yes? The other guy who pulled me aside after every show did this a couple of weeks ago. I was doing this and a guy pulled me aside afterwards and said, just so you know for your edification, I can tell that when you handed the envelope over to someone, there was nothing in it because the light hit just the right way. But I mean, there's something in your card is there, and your card is there, and your card is there. Yes? Good. Just wanted to clear that up. But good, I'll get the pencil in a second. And yours. And right here. Pass it down, pass it down, pass it down. Excellent. Sorrel, can I have you be my banner for a moment? You can stand there. 1, 2, 3, so they're nice and easy to keep track of. Right there, you think of a name. Think about the name, think about this person. See their face, hear their voice. Think about the last time you saw him or her. When you've got a good sort of block on this, just say out loud, I'm thinking of this name. Don't say what it is, but say, I'm thinking of this name. Say that again?
I'm thinking of this name.
Well, you're thinking of a last name as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Thanks. It's a famous last name. Sorry, never mark 1. Robert Goddard.
Yes.
So the Robert Goddard?
A
Or somebody
good
else?
friend of mine who shares the name with the Rockets on it.
Okay, fair enough. Robert Goddard.
All right.
It ain't rocket science. There was a film about Werner von Braun. And it was called, or one of the post titles for it was I Aim for the Stars. And somebody suggested the subtitle should be, but sometimes I hit London. I'm sorry, my dear, you think of a place. Think about the place, walk around the place in your mind. See the sights, hear the sounds. You've got it, just say, I'm thinking of this place.
I'm thinking of this place.
Do that again.
I'm thinking of this place.
Did this one that a few years ago at a little nightclub, which is not too far from here, and it's long gone, which is great. And it was a drinking crowd, and I had a guy in the second spot, and he had a couple at that point. And I said, sir, think about this place, walk around the place in your mind, see the sights, hear the sounds, you've got it, you know, my usual spiel there. And he really got into it, and I swear to you, he did this. He went, Tahiti! Which made it so much easier. But the whole sense of mystery I try to cultivate was sort of dampened. So I'm sorry, I think we've got to say, I'm thinking of this place.
I'm thinking of this place.
Oh, that's weird. London, that is weird. I just actually mentioned London, you're thinking of London, yes?
Yes.
But here, you're thinking of a date. Think about the date. What happens on the date? Think about why the date is important. When you've got it, just say, I'm thinking of this date.
I'm thinking of this date.
And do that again.
I'm thinking of this date.
Put it right in the pocket. Have a seat. Oh, you laugh now. Think of a year as well?
I was off the year, so that's why I faltered for a minute.
Okay, but
I'll think of it now.
Okay.
I'm going by the one.
Okay, a nice clear voice so that people can hear you. What's the date you're thinking?
February 13th, 2009.
February 13th, 2009. Okay, February 13th, 2009. Here's the thing, dates are tricky. There are numbers and letters involved. There was a thing about dates. I spell dates out in my head. I spell out, February, at least Feb. Other people do that as a number, so February's about 2. But I'm more verbal than I am numeric, surprise. So sometimes doing dates, I can be off by a day or 2. Sometimes as much as a week. It's happened before. Not tonight. One brief little thing I wanted to go over very quickly with you. I have, as you probably noticed, a number of kind of weird skills. But I have found out today that time management is not really among them. That's why there are no flowers in that vase. It's also why you don't have any programs. I just didn't have time to make up lovely programs for you. I do apologize. If you did have a program, you're not missing out a whole lot. You're missing out me saying thank you to Rick Royer and Cyrus Letty, who are helping me here. The rest of the program would have just been kind of self-serving palaver about me, which you're not really missing out on. But the one thing you are also missing out on by not having the program is the notation that tonight's performance is in memory of a friend of mine, Ed Hill. Ed was a teacher, a collector, a collaborator. Ed was somebody I would go to whenever I was working on a new show, and we throw ideas back and forth. So Ed has worked with me on this show in various incarnations over the years. Ed was one of the kindest, most generous people you could ever hope to meet. And he died very suddenly back in March, and we all miss him in my community. This is a great loss. This is sort of my first show without Ed kind of in the back of me in some way. So this is tonight's memory of Ed, a big man in so very many ways. There will be a brief 10-15 minute intermission. Hit the bar, go outside, get a breath of fresh air. When you go outside, get a beer or a Coke, go outside. When you're outside, look at each other saying, oh my God, how did you do that? Because I know you're going to do that. That's totally fine. One thing you shouldn't do is go outside and smoke, because those things will kill you. So, I'll see you all in about 10 minutes. Welcome to the second half. One of the things that people always talk to me about after shows, they always grab me and there'll always be somebody who will say, you must have that sixth sense, some sense beyond the usual five that most of us have. And I don't, really. And I'm not even interested in the idea of having a sixth sense, some additional sense beyond the usual. I am kind of intrigued with the idea of having fewer senses than normal. I started to think about this. You've all heard this story that when you're blind, for instance, your hearing becomes super sharp, your smell becomes more acute to make up for the loss of sight. You've all heard this sort of old lifestyle, right? Well, back when I was trying to go to college, one of my classmates was blind, and Scott used to get around campus with a dog. And we talked about this. He said, no, this is complete balderdash. His hearing wasn't super sharp. His sense of smell wasn't more acute. It doesn't work like Daredevil. He might use his other senses to get through the day a little bit, but they weren't necessarily super sharp because he was blind. But this idea has sort of stuck with me for a long time. What if I didn't have the use of one of my senses, like sight being the most dramatic? To go back to Newman the Great for a moment, you can see here he's making his famous blindfold drive. What Newman would do is he would have someone hide a hat pin, a lady's hat pin, anywhere within a mile or two radius. So he would stay in one spot, he'd hand the pin over to someone, they would run off somewhere, hide it somewhere in the city. Newman would then blindfold himself, get into a horse-drawn carriage, and then drive through the city with the person who had hidden the pin sitting next to him until he arrived at the location where the pin was hidden. He would then jump out of the carriage, still blindfolded, and go into wherever the pin had been hidden, and 9 times out of 10, find the damn thing. So this is amazing stuff. I have also experimented in blindfold drives. Not to demean anything that Newman did, but you can usually depend on a horse not to run careening into anything really dangerous. I have, on 2 occasions, done a blindfolded bicycle ride. Riding a bicycle just about a mile, 8/10 of a mile. I did 2 different times. Each time it clocked out to 8/10 of a mile to a destination, where I went from a local landmark to the venue where I was performing blindfold. I got this on the 6 o'clock news the second time I did it, and I was kind of pleased about that. But the news story on the 6 o'clock news was titled "Bizarre Stunt." So my dad was really proud. But anyways, this idea kind of sticks with this idea of doing things while you're not able to see. I want to expand on that for a couple of moments, and I want to use 2 of you for this. And the first person needs to be the most artistic person in the room. So who went to RISD? Who's our artiste here this evening? I will pick one of you out. It's actually a lot more fun if you suck, really. Lady dead ahead there with your hair into a bun, looking over her shoulder saying, "Please God, don't be talking to me." You want to try this? Oh, you big baby. I've already borrowed a fellow on the end for the key. Jen here, I've not borrowed you for anything. You want to try this? Looking behind you, not you, I know you, this guy here who I don't know. It starts. What's your name?
Nick.
Nick, you want to do this? Excellent. You can do it right from your seat. Nick, I'm going to give you a sketch pad and a pen. Nick, in a moment, I want you to make me a drawing. This can be as abstract or representational as you like. Nick, I've done this long enough that I know if I ask someone to make me a drawing, they tend to make the same stuff. Birds, trees, houses, flowers, smiley faces, all very popular. So I want to not draw one of those because so many people do. Or you might want to draw one of those because I told you not to. You want to fake me out, up to you. But nice and big, abstract, representational, doesn't matter. Just make sure it's nice and big so people can see it, and for God's sake, keep it clean. And don't start until I tell you to. I don't want to be any chance of you getting a glimpse of what you're drawing. I won't be able to in about 2 minutes. Second person to borrow needs to be reasonably spry, and someone who won't mind doing some errands back and forth to the rest of the group. And for that, I think I want to borrow a lady here in green with a leather jacket. What's your name?
Stephanie?
Stephanie. You want to do this?
Sure.
Lovely. Come on, Stephanie. Everyone. Stephanie, I am going to take my glasses off for this. And Stephanie, you have seen this sort of thing before? What? $50. Kennedy halves.
Okay, yeah.
Hold it to the light. Can you see through those at all?
Either one or?
Whichever ones. Take 2. Make sure you can't see through them. Handing back the rest. Excellent. Stephanie, you seen this sort of thing before?
Yes.
This is it's not just tape. It's duct tape. You see this at all?
No.
Okay. Stephanie, have 1 point. 1 point in the middle of one piece of duct tape. Stephanie, you know where this goes?
Do I know where it goes?
Do you know where this goes?
No.
This goes there.
And he's a good pirate match.
Same one. This goes in the middle. This is Stephanie, you know where this goes?
Yeah, right.
All right, quick study. Stephanie,
Yes.
do you think this points any way I can see?
No.
All right, if you could pull off maybe 6 or so inches of the tape there. Just put it on my hand, sticky side against my hand.
Sneaky side against your,
Yeah, just stick it to my hand there.
like your palm.
Yeah. Good. If you pull off another 6 inches or so. Seriously. It only gets weirder from here. Gonna be an English teacher. No. Nick,
Yes.
good time to start the drawing. Stephanie, with the heel of your hand, the flat part here, not the fingers that are pointy, they hurt. With the heel of your head, kind of press down between the gaps and the holes, what is it, you can peek. Feel like goop gets an eyeball.
I think you're good.
You good?
Yeah.
Alright. We go just a little further. You've seen this sort of thing before, yes?
Why, yes?
Can you see through this at all?
No.
You know where this goes?
Yes.
Do you think it's part of that way I can see?
No.
Hand me the tape.
Like the whole roll.
Like the whole roll. Stephanie, do you think it's part of that way I can see?
No.
It's good, because I'm out of stuff at this point. Because we're getting the errand running that I mentioned a moment ago. I need you to move up among the assembled throng and borrow 2 objects. Not 2 from everyone, but 2 total. Maybe one from one side, one from the other. Folks, if you can lend Stephanie an object, something a little unusual, a little fun, big enough that everyone will be able to see it. You're going to get these things, you're going to bring them back up and put them on my table, which is here still. And when you do this, don't get like keys. Keys are going to jingle when you put them down. You're going to hear that. It's sort of a hint. Something a little unusual, a little fun, big enough that everyone will be able to see it. Nothing really embarrassing or personal or delicate, leave that where it is. We've gone to a vaudeville house back in the 1920s. We've seen a woman named Shireen performing an act similar to this. Shireen would be very heavily blindfolded by members of the audience. Once she was blindfolded, they would lay out an obstacle course on the vaudeville stage. Shireen would then dance her way to the obstacle course on the vaudeville stage. None of you need to see me dance, so I do this. Stephanie, take your time. Don't worry about me standing with the coins in my eyes, the glue working its way into my pores. Beats having a job. Ooh, you're back. All right. So you've got two things on the table. Usually when I do this, Stephanie, it's usually sizing. It's usually like one's larger and one's smaller. Is that the case here?
Yes.
Can we start with the larger or the smaller of the two things? You've got the larger, the two things involved, the larger of the two things up so folks can see it. You folks can see this, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Can you think of the color of this? Because color is usually the first thing that I kind of zero in on, and a lot of you are seeing this as blue, yes?
Yes.
And it's like a sparkly kind of blue, yeah? Like almost like a little sequiny kind of thing, but very small. And there's a couple different like materials going on here. There's and there's a couple different shapes. There's like a long kind of shape here, and then is there like loops on this, like cords or something like string off to one side?
Yes.
And then the loops that connect to like a little metal bit as well.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not really sure what this is at all. All right, it's blue, it's sparkly, and the blue has another like a little bit of like a lighter blue, I think, going through it as well. And there's cords and loops and a little metally bit, and that's what I'm getting. Is this fairly close on this?
Yes.
Okay. What is this?
Did we tell you?
Yeah, you got me at this point. I'm not sure what this is.
A hand fan?
Oh, a hand fan. Okay, so it's a. All right, good. Good enough. Set that down and you're going to second thing. Got the second thing on the second thing up so folks can see it. You folks can see this, yes?
Yes.
All right. Again, can you think of the color of this? Because color is usually the first sort of thing that I zero in on. Some of you, particularly toward the back, are having a hard time making out color on this. Because this is fairly small. I know it's the smaller of the two things, but this is actually fairly small. And this also has sort of like a bluish green going on, and also kind of like a white. That making sense? Yes, no? And this is generally this is kind of rectangular in shape. And can I just give the boys who this is? Just say that's mine. This is fairly small, and it's like this big or so, I think. Yes. It's smaller. And there's it's rectangular. It's rounded a little bit in the front, and then is there like bits that stick down on the underside of it?
Yes.
Okay. Some of you, when she held this up, there were a couple of you I think who were thinking that this looked like a toothbrush head, but it's not, because this is actually this is electrical. This is electronic. Yes. This is one of those like electronic bug robots that runs around, bumps into walls, turns around, and it zooms around. And yes? Yes? Okay, good. Can you bring them their stuff back? So thank you very much, Stephanie, everyone. Nick?
Yes.
How are you doing on the drawing?
Good.
You done?
Yeah, it's not very good. But
Fair enough. Come on up if you would. Hand that to you. That's, yeah, I'll take that as well. You folks can see this, yes?
No.
Sorry. Goes this way? No, it goes this way. Backwards? Good. Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Okay. You folks can see this, yes?
Yes.
This way you can see this, yes? this way you can see this. I know this is like a weird thing to ask you to do, but can you, like, for just a minute, kind of lock this image in your head? Nick, take this. Can you walk a couple of steps away? Can you put that on the floor, drawing side down, and stand on it? I'm going to take all this off. I don't want to get a chance of me getting a glimpse of what you're drawing, so it's on the floor, drawing side, and you're standing on it. I'm not going to see if I take all this off. All right. Now I'm going to part of this entire piece that I enjoy the least. Going to be an English teacher. Let's discuss that for a minute. So far this evening, you've seen the call of cards people are thinking about, workout words people have selected from books, letter by letter, as they're thinking about it, bed, spoons, a name, a place, a date. You all sort of politely receptive. Oh, this is quite engaging, isn't it? Now I begin to remove layers of my face, and now it's, oh, this guy's good! You all see this drawing, yes? My shoes. Could you hold that up and show that so folks can see it, and then show me what you've got there? So you've got dice. All right, come on over. So dice. You've got threes. You've got 6 there and a 1 there, which I would make them misspotted dice, but that's okay. So 2 6s on type, 2 3s in front, and 1 set. The question before us is, does anybody see any similarity whatsoever between that drawing there that Nick made and that? So, it will come as no surprise to any of you at this point in the evening that I am somewhat wordy and verbose and redundant now that I say that out loud. There are 600,000 words in the English language, give or take. English is a delightful language, it's a great vocabulary. There's wonderful words in it like avuncular and malinger, which are 2 of my favorite words ever. There are also other words in English that aren't quite so delightful until you stop and think about them. Words like umbrella. Umbrella comes from Latin, it means little shadow. And I just find that very pleasing. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of words are published every day in the newspapers. Newspapers such as the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, New York Times, and the Providence Journal. I want to get down to one word and one word only selected by you from one of these newspapers, and here's how we'll proceed. I'm going to ask one of you to grab any newspaper that appeals to you, or at least the one that repulses you the least. We'll take that entire newspaper, walk it over to anybody else in the room, a stranger, someone you didn't come here with. Spread the love. Hand that entire newspaper over to that second person. That second person will select one section, life, health, sports, whatever it is that they like. They will walk that section over to a third person in the room, a stranger, someone they didn't come here with. Spread the love. That third person will select one sheet, one 2-page spread from that section of the newspaper. They will join me up here in front of the group, and we'll proceed from there. Any questions? Good. You're right there. If you can grab any one of those newspapers that appeals to you, or the one that repulses you the least, photograph of the New York Times, you flaming liberal you. And over the second person. But here, if you could select one section, life, health, sports, whatever it is that appeals to you. And that entire section over to a second person in the room. If you take one sheet, one two-page spread of that section of the newspaper, you have the option of either joining me here or handing it off to another person, whichever you prefer. No, very along with you. Come on. What's your name? Jack. Big hand for Jack, everyone. Jack, I'm going to use this. Jack, point to a hand and I drop the keys in whichever hand you point to. Point to a hand. Point to a hand. Point to a hand. Very consistent. Point to a hand. Point to a hand. Oh, changing it up. Very tricky, Jack. Point to a hand. Point to a hand. Last pieces to put them on your hand. In a moment, Jack, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. When I do, I want you to reach over, grab a piece, or the other one, don't do it. You're looking for a word, a nice complete word you can make out all of, not a word that's one half there, you have to guess what the rest of it is. It might be that we went down too small and there isn't a usable word. If that's the case, just say, there's nothing here, we'll get another newspaper and make another mess. And if there's several words, a bunch of words, pick the most interesting one. If it's or the, just ignore that. 1, 2, 3, go. Don't need it. Unravel that. You've got two sides to play with. You're looking for a word. That's a complete word you can make out all of, not a word that's only half there. You have to guess what the rest of it is. Is there a word that you got like this? Okay, good. As you entered this evening, and we're paying for your tickets, the lovely Sarah gave a number of you a yellow envelope with a number on it. Those of you with yellow envelopes, hold this up. Lovely. Those of you with yellow envelopes, can you approach? Why don't you line up, put a number on your envelope. Number 1 here, number 2 here, number 3 here, and so on down the line. It's a test of your ability to count quickly under pressure. Jack, take a step up here. Jack, what's the word that you've selected there? Yes.
Track.
Sorry?
Track.
Track. Like to follow or like a road kind of thing. Okay, track here is okay. Can you open your envelopes and take out the piece of paper that's in there? Drop the envelope's not important. Can you unfold the paper that's in there and hold it up over your head? Unfold it and hold it up over your head. Unfold it and hold it over your head. So, my name is Rory. I want to thank you all for coming out to play with your minds tonight. My thanks to you, because without you there's no show. My thanks to Rick and to Cyrus for doing all the techie hard bits. My thanks to the bartender whose name I don't remember because I suck. Jake. What's up, Jake? Nothing you see me do tonight is psychic. Nothing you see me do tonight is a cult. This just shows you what you can do when you put your mind to it. Thanks for coming out. Go home, tell everyone, because I'm doing one more show here tomorrow night. So come back and see it again, or send friends of yours. So thank you all for coming, and hope you play with your minds again sometime soon.